Okay, so if you know your king palms, I know what you're saying right now. What the heck? That's the most strict king palm I've ever seen. Strict meaning no curvature to the petiole, the part that holds the green up on the fronds. And that's what I thought too when I saw this tree when I was driving by. Like, my goodness, I need to go check this tree out and get some seed. But this is an incredible tree. It's located in Downey, California. And it's one of the fattest trunk king palms I've ever seen. And as you notice here, it's standing right next to a multi-headed Phoenix robellini that I've seen this happen before. This is a whole nother concept. Sometimes these things get damaged or whatever here and they get multiple trunks, which is really cool. But the reason I'm here right now is because of this thing here. Normally a king palm will have really curvy foliage, and we'll walk around and talk about that and look at these trees. And this is more typical of a king palm, and it has about the diameter of trunk you would expect on a king palm. And we'll go over and measure that, which is probably about less than the size of my 12-inch foot. So it's probably about 10 inches in diameter. Here's a bunch of fresh red seed from this other tree. We don't want this seed because this is just a skinny, you know, typical king palm, right? They're everywhere. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love these trees, no matter what they look like. But we could show the diameter of this tree. What we're looking for is the most superior of all the king palms, with a big fat trunk, really beautiful thick foliage, stiff foliage that will hold up in the wind. Look at that. That's as stiff and big as I've ever seen. Let's go look at how big this trunk is. I suspected it was going to have a big trunk when I saw it from a mile away. Look at this trunk. Oh my goodness. This is like a royal palm. There are royal palms in Florida that don't have trunks that are this thick. And so you can imagine we're going to want to collect the seed from this tree here, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm actually collecting little babies. I'm digging up out of the grass here. They were nice enough to let me have them. And look at this crazy plant. It even seems to have a bit of a different flower structure on it. Just a little bit different looking than the average king. So who knows what kind of genetics this has. Let's step back and take a good look at this thing from a distance in comparison to these other trees. You'll see the difference. The sun came out. But look at the difference. It looks like a completely different plant, right? Look at that. So that's what I'm doing right now. Now, I would think that the tree on the right is much prettier than the trees on the left. You can see how fat the trunk is. It almost looks like it was hybridized with Rhopalostylus sapida, the shaving brush palm from New Zealand has an upright structure a bit more like that than a typical king palm structure, which is really loose and droopy. Okay, so we're gonna have these palms for sale at the nursery right now. They are seedlings, so it's gonna be a while, but we could probably even sell you little ones if you really want one. But that is probably the most beautiful king palm I have ever seen. And you can see that the length of the foliage is so long. Look at that. It's gotta be about 12 feet long. Okay? And whereas these guys are pretty long too, but they're more like about maybe 9 feet. This one's taller, more vigorous. I think it's also gonna hold up to wind better because it just looks a lot stiffer. When you see the wind blowing on that, see how stiff that is? It's a lot stiffer than the typical king palm like these guys here. So there you go. Come on down to Golden Gate Palms in Richmond, and I will stand in the sun. So you can buy one of these awesome, big, fat trunked, stiff fronded, wind tolerant, super gorgeous kings for me. All right, there you go.